Everybody's Jason24CF for EventHubs.com here at Youmacon 2013 with a very special guest, Mr. Ultra David. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I'm looking forward to this interview because you are one of the brightest minds in FGC and you do an amazing job with Theory Fighter 101. And now with the recent news of Ultra Street Fighter 4 coming out, you've been very vocal, but with Twitter you only limited to 140 characters. Now you have a larger, larger platform, but now you could just freely speak. What are your initial reactions of some of the changes you heard with Ultra?
As far as the double Ultras go, I feel like some characters will use that, some characters will use Ultra, but I think a lot of them will stick with one Ultra. The extra damage is just so important, I think, for some characters. But, you know, without knowing more about what the changes are going to be to each Ultra, it's kind of hard to say. You know, if a character like Balrog doesn't get any good changes to Ultra 2, his Ultra 1 is just going to be what he goes with because Ultra 2 is bad. But if they buff Ultra 2, for example, could be really useful. Same thing for a character like Guy, a character like Honda, those bad Ultra 2s. They could be really useful. If not, then they'll just stick with it, right? So without knowing more, it's kind of hard to say. But I feel like it'll at least be used by some characters. The red focus, I don't know. I feel like that doesn't sound that great, to be perfectly honest.
And when I initially heard about it, I said, what is it that they're actually trying to solve with the red focus? I mean, absorbing multiple hits is fine, but that really wasn't an issue that plagued the game. It was unblockables. You know, the game has been fairly balanced. Tiers constantly change. You know, you have now Japan with the Topanga League taking place earlier today. Oni now all of a sudden seems super strong. So it's like that. I don't understand. What are they trying to address? What do you think probably their idea behind it was?
I'm not sure. I mean, really, I don't know. I think you're totally right to say that was not an issue with the game. You know, people, I think, are more worried about it than they should. You know, the rumor is that it'll cost 2 bars to use in the first place. If it were free, I mean, obviously it would be...
Oh, yeah, it'd be overused.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. You know, some characters are worried about it. Bison players are worried about it. Honda players are worried about it if you can absorb all of jab hands, right? That kind of thing. But I just don't expect that people will bet 2 bars on that very often. So, I mean, maybe they're just adding it in and seeing how we use it. Maybe once we get our hands on it, we'll think of new ways and new things. But for now, all I can really think of is the occasional punish, very occasional corner setup, maybe unblockables with you know, fireball, FADC, red focus. That kind of thing. But not very commonly used.
And that was another thing I was saying to myself as well and other players. They said, well, it neutralizes Fei Long's, you know, jab Rekka game. And I said, well, think about characters like Bison who rely on that short scissor kick pressure in the corner. Now, if you could absorb those 2 hits of the scissor kick, the level 2 seems like it's, you know, it crumbles you. Right. So now Bison's now in a position that, you know. And another rumor that is gaining a lot of traction that I found out this weekend is the third mechanic that's going to be added is a delayed wake-up system. Someone told me that they're not sure if it's a delayed wake-up or it's going to be a tech row, similar to Cross Tekken, but they said they have been hearing a lot about a delayed wake-up system. Do you think that's something that would work well in Ultra Street Fighter 4?
Maybe. I mean, if that helps get rid of the unblockable problem, then that is an issue. I mean, look, I think Cross Tekken is a better game than SF4, just in my opinion. And one of the reasons is I like the role as it appears in the newer version of Cross Tekken. So if it appears like that, then that's fine. On the other hand, I know that a lot of people don't like Cross Tekken, and I know that they prefer SF4, which is totally fine. So for them, I would be maybe a little sad if that were to be the case. But as far as just a delayed getup goes, you know, I feel like that's good and it's bad too. If you're a top tier character, say you're Cammy, right? You have, or say more like you're Akuma. You have these great vortex pressure options. If the opponent gets a delayed getup, then they kind of go away. Right. But at the same time, you're Akuma. You have all these great options still. Now think about being a pressure heavy character like Dudley or like Dan. If the opponent has a delayed getup, your pressure is now worse. But you're still Dudley or Dan. I mean, you're not a great character, so it makes you worse. It makes both sets of characters worse, but the top tier characters have more options anyway. So I don't necessarily feel like it does much to redress balance concerns. It can redress the concern that that nobody likes unblockables, right? I mean, it can deal with that. But as far as making the game more balanced or more interesting, I think it would suck if Dudley didn't get the pressure that he. That's his character design. So that's something that I would be worried about. I think with a delayed get up.
And everybody's always coming to me because I've leaked so many things. Well, I've made it public, and I've kind of got scolded a bit to stop doing that. So I'm not going to release as much, but I'm passionate about the game. I enjoy the game. It's the reason why I got into FGC, and I feel like what I known to come to love, it's being changed in a way. So it's like, you're in a relationship with somebody, and then now they start treating you like, oh wait, what's going on here?
Right.
And that's how I feel about Street Fighter. I'm very passionate about it. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I know my character is getting nerfed again. When you said on a few occasions that you feel some of those nerfs are uncalled for. You agreed with another one where they said instead of nerfing the distance of the record range, the delay in between the records because I feel that's more abusable than just constantly throwing out records. You're hesitant, like, should I punish the situation? Oh, and then you eat a record, it's counter hit, now you're still in the corner. The fifth character, who knows what it's going to be? Lots of hints and screenshots of people's phones suggest it's a female. I think it kind of got a little more tread to it with some new illustrations saying that Ryu now has a sister. So now there's going to be maybe an additional show. I don't know. Okay. These are things I'm hearing. Hey, who knows what's going to happen? Are you going to get into playing the Street Fighter, or are you just going to...
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely play it. I'm not going to play in tournaments. I'll certainly play casually, and I still play SF4 all the time. It's not something that I'm planning to give up, and I'm definitely looking forward to Ultra. I think it will bring people back in who haven't been playing Street Fighter 4 for a while. So that's a good part of it. As far as the balance concerns go, I think you're right about Faye. At least the rumors that they've talked about. Or not the rumors, but when they showed things off at EVO, for example, if they stick with that, I feel like that's a little bit too heavy. But you kind of have to go into it expecting that some characters are going to get nerfed a little more, buffed a little more, maybe than they should be. It's just kind of how the balancing process tends to go, which it's unfortunate, but it's kind of the reality of it.
Yeah, because the thing I heard after that was like, oh, now Cammy and Fei Long going to be top tier because they have an offensive and a defensive Ultra if they use both. Understandable, but I say grapplers are going to have the best advantage. So if there is no delayed wake up and Geef can knock you down, now he gets into his green hand, and now you put in that position. Do I jump or I block? So you could eat a 360, or then you could hit the Ultra 2 if you try jumping away. So I know Geef, players are really enjoying that. Are you a Geef player, right? I believe so. It's tell by the smile.
So I think that's overhyped. I really do. Yeah, I really do. Random Ultra is not that great. It's okay, and Geef has to use it sometimes in order to keep people honest, but it's not that great. You don't see Geefs. How often really do you see Geefs use Ultra 2 in tournament? It happens, but
Aqua does all the time.
I know Aqua does, but for the most part, you see it as a threat. Right. It's a threat. It's not, and it's rarely acted upon threat in practice. So if he has both Ultras, that sounds great, and it's good. But you're not going to see a situation where Geef gets a knockdown and goes for this little 50-50 every time, because it's just not worth the risk. If he guesses wrong, he's going to lose 300 or 400 life, and it's a big risk to take. So, especially because with double Ultra, he's going to do less damage. In fact, some Geefs that I've talked with say that they're going to stick with just Ultra 2, because Fierce Piledriver does just a little bit less than people think that Ultra 1 will do with double Ultra. So he kind of already has the same mix-up in a way. I think it'll benefit Hakan a lot as far as the grapplers go. T-Hawk a little bit. I think I'm more interested in the benefit to Akuma. The ability to cancel normals and teleports, I think, sounds really good. I think Dalsum having Ultra 1 and Ultra 2 sounds really good. I think same for a character like Makoto, maybe Adon. I feel like there are more characters than Geef that benefit from it. So,
but the first initial reaction is, let's think of what's the most, scrubby thing, because people that eat the most scrubby things are mostly online players. Like Aqua makes a living at trolling people online, in the streams with Ultra 2. So I mean, David, I appreciate your time, man. It's been a pleasure. I always enjoy hearing the the insight you have about the game and the great thought you go into it. And again, thank you, and let's get back to Youmacon. All right?
Thanks a lot.
We out.
You got it?
Recording. We'll go into whatever. Yeah, it's recording. We're good. All right, so I'll introduce you. I'll give you tons of praise as always. And
You're
then,
gonna be like leaning forward.
what's up?
Sit upright.
Sit upright.
Sit upright.
It's been a
You're
long.
gonna do it, be upright.
It's been a long weekend.
I
Let
don't
us
care.
relax.
I'm spot checking you.
Oh, whatever. Let's just slouch, man. FGC. That's how we do it.